After all the devastating tornadoes that impacted the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley on Wednesday, we are bracing for torrential rains this upcoming weekend. And could we end with just a bit of snow? We have all the details and more next at the Weather Farm. Welcome to the Weather Farm. We've had a very active week of weather so far. We are just getting started with phase 2 as heavy rains are set to impact the Tennessee and Ohio valleys through Sunday afternoon. So let's take a look at our weather forecast as we begin our Friday morning. We see rain stretching from Oklahoma through Arkansas into Tennessee and Kentucky and really all the way to the East Coast. This is not tornadic or severe weather. It's just heavy amounts of rain that have been permeating Kentucky and Tennessee over the last 48 hours. Some areas have exceeded 7 to 8 inches of rain already, and that's on top of the rainfall that we are expecting over the next 72 hours. Across the northern plains, we do have some snow making its way through the Dakotas and associated with a trough that is digging across the Intermountain West. And elsewhere across the country, it is a quiet beginning to our Friday. But in terms of our weather hazards, our main focus is the Ohio and Tennessee Valley, where we see those dark greens indicating flood watches, those dark reds indicating flash flood warnings. Out west, we're seeing winter storm watches across Montana into the Dakotas, and even down into the northeast part of New Mexico, we are seeing some winter weather advisories being hoisted for our Friday. So let's take a look at our hazardous weather. The moderate risk of severe weather for our Friday is going to be centered in that general area from far northeastern Texas, far southeastern Oklahoma into central Arkansas. And just slightly outside of that, we're going to have an enhanced risk. But we're going to have a slight risk stretching all the way from Evansville back through Dallas down to far southeastern Texas on our Friday. So our primary threat on Friday across that same area where we see that moderate risk of severe weather is going to be tornadoes. And again, it's going to stretch into central Arkansas, where we have about a 15% chance of a tornado occurring within a 25-mile radius of any point within that oval. And it is a hatched risk, meaning that there is a likelihood of significant tornadoes. So we're going to watch this area on our Friday afternoon into Friday evening for that potential of severe weather. It's nothing like what we saw on Wednesday, where we had a much larger area of moderate risk. And in terms of hail for our Friday, it's going to be primarily concentrated in that same area that we have the tornado risk. And the threat of wind is not as severe as we had on our Wednesday, but we do have strong winds stretching from central Texas all the way up into the lower Ohio Valley. In terms of precipitation, by the time this gets going on Friday into our Sunday morning, we could see excess of 5 to 10 inches of rain across parts of northern and central Arkansas. We're going to see a nice swath of rain from 4 to 6 inches stretching up towards Cincinnati all the way back down toward Memphis, but a general 2 to 4 inches across most of the lower central plains into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys is expected through Sunday. And we'll see later in this video, as this system continues to move east, that heavy rain is going to shift into places like the Carolinas, into Georgia and Alabama as we begin our new work week. So let's put our map into motion. This is Friday morning. We see those showers continue to get going, but by Friday afternoon, we're starting to get a more organized batch of rain that's going to rotate through Missouri, Illinois, into Indiana, and that rain is going to be steady. It's going to wobble to the north and south from time to time overnight Friday into Saturday, but then we're going to have another big push of rain that's going to make its way through the Ohio Valley Saturday night into early Sunday morning. And then that begins to sweep off to the south and east as we begin our Sunday afternoon. And really the threat of severe weather is going to be confined down in that deep south, because we see those Cape values really limited to far southeastern Texas, Louisiana, into Arkansas on our Friday. And really as we go overnight Saturday, that risk of those Cape values, that instability, really becomes diminished and is really confined to the deep south along the Gulf Coast, even as we make our way into Saturday evening and Sunday. So that's why we believe that the greatest risk of severe weather is going to be on Friday It's going to be across parts of Arkansas, northern Louisiana, into Texas, even far southeastern Oklahoma. And you can really see that here on the dew point map because you see those dew points surging into the low 70s up through Arkansas, western Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas, and even that far southeastern part of Oklahoma. But if you go back towards Dallas, dew points are going to be around 60 degrees. And just to the north and west, dew points are in the low 50s. That's really not conducive to those severe thunderstorms really developing because you want a nice, warm, moist environment. And as we look up through the Ohio Valley towards St. Louis, Indianapolis, and Columbus, out toward Pittsburgh, dew points are in the low 50s to upper 40s. So this is again why we don't believe that on Friday we're going to see that severe weather threat like we saw on our Wednesday. And the temperatures also play out that same pattern. The real warm weather is going to be concentrated in southeastern Texas, Louisiana, up through Arkansas, and across the southern states, where temperatures are going to be in the mid 80s for our Friday. Up through Kentucky, we're going to see temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, but we just go about another 100 miles north, and temperatures are going to be drastically cooler as it's going to be on the other side of that frontal boundary that is triggering all this rainfall across the Ohio Valley. Temperatures there are going to be in the upper 40s to mid 50s for most areas on our Friday, even dipping down into central Texas on the backside, whereas in the deep southern part of Texas, you're going to be in the upper 90s. Elsewhere across the country, we're seeing pretty seasonal temperatures for this time of year. The one point I do want to mention, we haven't talked about much weather outside of the Ohio Valley this week, is on the West Coast, where we're going to see that warmth 60s and 70s extending up the coast into Washington State for our Friday. There are no real signs of cold weather as that is continuing to be bottled up way to the north, though we will get a jab of it to begin next week. Our temperatures on Saturday also continue to reflect that same pattern. We are warming up a little bit more along the west coast for our Saturday, so those 70s and maybe even mid 70s are stretching up towards Oregon. But look across the Colorado and New Mexico. We have temperatures here, places like Albuquerque, they're going to struggle to get to the mid 40s. Roswell, you're going to be in the low to mid 30s. This is some 40 degrees below your seasonal norms for this time of the year. So this is a cold pocket of air, that a trough that is digging down across the western central plains. That cold air and its associated moisture is going to move towards the east. Where we see these coldest of temperatures on our Saturday, we have the chance overnight, Saturday into Sunday, to see some accumulating snows across Oklahoma. And we see that cold air beginning to spread east from eastern Oklahoma through Missouri up towards Ohio into the northeast. Temperatures on our Sunday could be held in the mid 30s to upper 30s for a great portion of this area. And so definitely we have some colder air behind this frontal passage system as it continues to move off to the south and east. And we see those real warm temperatures really being confined to the coastal areas of the Carolinas and down into Florida. Even those places in Louisiana that were in the 80s on our Friday, you've cooled into the near 50 to 55 for your Sunday. So let's put all this into motion. So Sunday, as I mentioned, we could see some snow moving out of Oklahoma through Missouri into the Ohio Valley overnight Sunday into Monday. That system continues to move off to the east, bringing rain to Georgia, to the Carolinas, up towards Virginia. And as that colder air continues to wrap in behind this system, we're going to see a secondary low form across parts of Ontario. That's going to generate enough instability that it's going to spin up a pretty decent snows across Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine as we begin early parts of next week. So as I mentioned, we talked about the rain across the Ohio Valley, but the rain that we see as we move Sunday into Tuesday morning, that 48-hour period, we're going to see that heaviest of rain from near Montgomery through Atlanta into the far western parts of South Carolina and central North Carolina, where we could see 2 to 4 inches of rain. Elsewhere, we're going to see a general 1 to 3 inches of rain. As we make our way to the north, lighter amounts of precipitation are expected. And we did see that snow moving its way through the Central Plains and Ohio Valley on our Sunday into Monday morning. And so as we wake up on Sunday morning, we could see an area of 1 to 3 inches of snow from northeastern Oklahoma through south central Missouri. A lot of things could change, but there are some hints that we can see some accumulating snow in this area as we end our weekend. Even as we make our way through Indiana and Ohio, we could see a good dusting across central Indiana, central Ohio. Isolated half-inch to 1-inch amounts are possible if enough cold air rushes in and enough moisture is still left as that system continues to push off to the east coast. Something we're definitely going to watch here, because one of the things that we're seeing as we look at the 500 millibar map is we see this pocket of cold air of a trough, and that's going to bring those below normal temperatures to New Mexico on our Saturday. That's going to follow that snowfall as it makes its way through Oklahoma into Missouri and the Ohio Valley Sunday into Monday morning. We see another reinforcing jab, a trough digging across the northeast. That's going to help generate those snow showers across the far parts of the northeast. And really, the eastern third of the United States is going to be in a cooler pattern for most of next week, with troughs digging in every couple days or so. And so that pattern isn't going to last for long, because as we look at our outlook, this is 8 to 14 days from now, we're going to see the real below normal temperatures confined to Florida and the coastal areas of the Carolinas and Georgia, whereas much of the country is either going to be at normal temperatures or above normal temperatures during this time period. And while we have seen record amounts of rain across Central Plains, Ohio Valley, and Tennessee valleys this week, we are going to have a time to dry out, because the 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us towards the middle of April, shows below normal precipitation for much of the United States. The exception being the Pacific Northwest and then the coastal regions of New England. So this is going to be welcome dry time for most of the United States. Well, we thank you for watching this video here at the Weather Farm. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay dry. Remember, if you see flooded water, turn around, don't drown. And we will see you again on Monday with another video. Have a great weekend.